Yo, drop a like on this video and go down to the comments and comment how many arena points you currently have before watching these arena tips. Hey, I'm still waiting on that like. Yo, what is good guys? It's your boy Woods back with a new video, and now in today's video, I'm going to be helping you guys get better at Fortnite Arena and helping you guys get the Champions League. If you guys would like to see more Fortnite tips and get better at Fortnite overall, then make sure you do consider subscribing, but only if you're actually going to watch my videos and get better at Fortnite along with me. But anyways, let's hop straight into this. Okay, so let's first work out what actually Arena is. Well, Arena is actually used to usually get into Champions League, so then you're able to actually participate in tournaments, or just to overall play against similar skill level players to you. So what this means, obviously, is the players you're playing against clearly have a similar skill level to you, so you definitely should not feel scared about any of these players. However, myself personally, I always used to be afraid of playing in Arena. I always used to feel like I wasn't good enough. However, it definitely means that you are good enough to be playing against these players if you have the same points as them. However, myself, using these tips in today's video allowed me to feel more confident, so if you are struggling, then definitely make sure to watch to the end of the video to use all these tips and feel more confident. Because I know a lot of people do not like playing Arena solos, and obviously that's why we need to maximize our time. Hopping into the first tip, and that is choosing a good drop spot. Now, this good drop spot can be anywhere over the map. I personally like to land on this little pontoon, which is a boat which not many people land on and has COD loot. I'll actually throw a link in the description to one of the best landing spot videos for trios and solos, so you can go ahead and choose it for which one you guys personally think is a favorite. But anyways, moving on, as soon as you land down, you need to be W keying the person you land off with spawn, depending on the sort of location you land on. If it's a smallish location like so, you want to be W keying as soon as possible to make sure that you can go ahead and push them before they get any good loot, so that it's an easier fight for you. As you can see here, this kid I had taken down with these because he only had an SMG like me, and he didn't have a shotgun just yet. So you definitely need to focus on your advanced looting, and some of these tips may include is such as if you have a slurp barrel at the spawn location, you definitely need to be making sure that you use these tactically and using them before you pop any big shields or minis, just in case, so then you can actually save them for later on in the game. As you can see here, the spot I have is perfect for this, as it has a bunch of these slurp barrels and agency's chests, so it is super goated. So I definitely recommend you try this spot out if you're landing in solos. But moving on to having a successful rotation for your mid game. So the mid game is obviously a very important part that I feel like a lot of people die at, so that's why we need to focus on this very heavily. So as you can see here, when I rotate from my actual island, I usually like to rotate over the first island that's closest to it, as it actually rotates around the map. Once I get to this next island, I like to try ahead and win my first mid-game fight, because then giving myself some extra materials and shield, because I don't get a lot off the boat. So I need to win this fight, and I need to get high ground, so definitely if you're ever fighting in mid-game, always remember the basic principle of getting high ground is very useful. Do not fear though if they ever do get above you, because all you have to do is box up and conserve your materials. As you can see, this kid eventually came down to me, and I didn't actually have to end up wasting all my materials, and I was eventually leading to me spraying in and getting inside of his box. This is definitely one of the most useful tactics to killing one in mid-game, is just to barrel stuff them and get super in their face, and people always crumble under pressure in the mid-game. I do not know why, but definitely take that away from it and try and use it. My next tip here is that if you ever get sprayed by someone, do not worry, and it is okay that a lot of pros do this. It is good to reset your fights and make sure that you're back up using your minis and everything like that. Don't always feel pressured into fighting immediately. So once I'd shielded back up, I went straight into the box using one of my box fighting techniques, which is placing a stair above my head, and you definitely need to be making sure that you do not get tunnel vision, because there was a kid spraying me in the back there that you may not have noticed, but I personally did wearing a headset, and I was actually able to protect myself before entering into the box. Moving on though, I actually sprayed up this kid and I followed him up eventually, and the next thing I'd like to go on to is prepping a wall. And now prepping a wall in Arena is actually super useful, because what you want to do is spray it and get it weak just before you actually go up to the box, and as soon as you can go up to the box, then you can place the stair behind you and then hit it once, and you should be able to go ahead and go straight through. So once again, repping it up again, prepping a wall is just getting it low before you walk up to it so you can go straight in. So the next thing you want to work on is actually getting an insta-kill. Now, insta-kills is lining up your shots before you actually go ahead and kill the player. As you can see, that was definitely a laughable kill right there. I don't know how I just beamed him in the head, but I did. Anyways, moving on to the rotations in the late game. You definitely want to be making sure you always go into your map and ping it so you can actually see in the actual game where you need to be rotating to. My next insane tip is actually, if your screen ever goes white like that, and what that means is someone nearby has used one of those whirlpools that send you into the sky. What I did with this information is I looked over to the nearest whirlpool and I found a kid in the air, sprayed him, followed him up, and hit him with that nasty pump shot. So definitely make sure you're taking that away, is that if your screen ever goes white, look to the nearest whirlpool and you should be able to get some free sprays. This next kid here, all I had to do is barrel stuff him once again with one of those tips I just gave earlier. It is super useful, and you can definitely get some opponents off guard with this. So definitely make sure free kills come from them barrel stuffing boys and girls. Moving on to this next tip, this is super important. You definitely want to listen up for this one. And what it is actually planning out in your head where you think enemies will come from. So on the top side of the map, there's actually more space and more landing locations that people could rotate from. Rather on the bottom side, there wouldn't be less. So that's why I decided to rotate around to the bottom side, so that I'll encounter less people and have a higher chance of surviving, as I will not encounter many people. I actually do run into a kid though, unfortunately, so I have to make a play on him and try and jump down. Rather than gliding all the way down to him, I actually land on the tree, preventing him from spraying me in the air, so I give myself a bit of time to breathe before I can drop on him. As you can see here though, he actually flies away using this grenade launcher, which is super annoying. However, sometimes you've just got to let kids go. If they keep on going, sometimes it's just better off to leave them rather than chasing them and getting too tunnel visioned. The next thing here is you want to go ahead and plan your route. So planning a route is basically go ahead and make a mental map in your head of where you want to rotate to for the next zone and how you're going to do that. So then you're actually prepared when everyone actually goes ahead and moves. As you can see here though, this kid actually flew away on a launch pad, and my next tip actually comes down to don't always follow kids on a launch pad if you don't need to, because for example, when I hopped on that launch pad then, I'm sure a lot of people would have already been looking at it from the previous guy using it, and then they would have sprayed me out the air. So I just took a safe route of running over there, and sometimes you gotta go for the safe route. Once again though, doing a nice barrel stuff just to get in this kid's face and getting a free kill. My next tip here though is actually to go ahead and look for some free kills afterwards and trying to get high ground as soon as possible to look around and plan your route. So actually, as you can see here, I'm on the high ground and I'm planning out where I want to go, making sure that I have a nice little plan for myself. So next thing here, you want to go ahead and get yourself some free sprays. People start to rotate for zone and I'm already nicely ahead because I've had my route planned, and I actually now get time to spray some people. Make sure you throw up a couple walls though, just so you don't get sprayed from the side or sniped, because that's one of the most annoying things ever. As you can see though, this kid here I was spraying, and eventually I actually saw that he got tagged white. Now what this meant is that he didn't have any shield, and I was on 200 shield, so I was definitely chilling for this fight. So I followed it up with a quick launch pad and went straight into box fighting him, and actually managed to get into his box. I managed to get a free pump, and as you can see, he was a one shot, he was that weak. So definitely make sure when you go for those free sprays, you're definitely looking to see if anyone is white, and if they are white, then definitely make sure to push them. Next thing is, if you're in the late game, make sure to use strong materials, because what this will do is it will actually make your opponents not realize that you might be weak. If you use wood or something like that, then they might think you're on scraps of wood and stuff like that, and you're not very, you didn't have the best of loot or whatever. So definitely make sure you're using like metal or brick to scare off enemies and make them think that you actually got some good loot and they won't need to push you. Next tip here is actually not to chase kills too hard. I was looking for this kid over here, but it ended up just him running away eventually, and I didn't even get the kill. So sometimes just go ahead and wait for them to move and forget about them. Next tip here though is actually watch people coming out of zone. So this kid has to rotate, and it's a free kill when people have to rotate towards you and you're just spraying at them, because as you can see here, he crumbled eventually and it was a free kill for me. Moving on though, I had to place a launch pad and move into the zone, and I needed to actually go where that kid was already. However, I couldn't rotate there because he would have beamed me out, this guy, no doubt. So I had to turn around and try and get the high ground. However, I couldn't because I actually fell down and got sprayed in the process. Then I had to rotate for zone, as zone was right up my arse, so I had to actually go ahead and push in and try and get on high ground. Once I got the high ground though, I tried popping a big pot, but honestly, when you get to this late in the game, you really have to be quite far into zone to actually use a big pot, so there's probably no chance of me getting that off. So I just decided to go ahead and keep on moving, and eventually got sprayed for trying to use it again. As you can see here, the kid got the high ground, but honestly, sometimes you just got to realize you got to give up the height and go down and look for some kills. I got a really nice kill there because I landed on someone that was quite lucky, and then once again, just fighting in zone to kill another kid. At this point, I had an insane amount of mats, however, I didn't realize this, and this was a big mistake by me on my part. So if you're ever playing, definitely make sure you're always checking your mats when you have time to spare. Right now, I should have been checking my mats, but I didn't, and for some reason, I had it in my head that I didn't have any materials to use. As you can see here, I wasn't using any mats like an idiot, and I had almost full mats. So as you can see, I was stupid, and unfortunately, I lost the fight because I didn't build. So yeah, guys, that is honestly one of the best games I've had recently in Arena, though 12 kills is very decent, and I had a bunch of Arena points. So yeah, guys, if you are looking to get better at Fortnite, Arena, everything like that, just getting better at Fortnite overall, make sure you do subscribe to my channel if you are new around here, and turn on those notifications if you are looking to see more videos in future. And also, guys, drop a like on the video. It really helps me get out there to more people, so please go drop a like on the video. It really helps it out, get some more recommended. Also, if you are still watching, then make sure to check out one of these other videos.